Imagine, your father is murdered and your younger brother is kidnapped and you have to empty out your entire life savings just to get him back. All because of your job. That is the reality that Muhammad has faced. Muhammad was a military interpreter in Afghanistan, and he is one of thousands of interpreters that face dangers just like that, and some far worse. These interpreters played a key role in our operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. They helped keep our troops safe by identifying hazards, and in return, we protected them from the enemy's retaliation for helping us. But now that we are pulling out of those areas, the interpreters would like to do the same. So we set up programs for them to receive special immigrant visas. But the programs that were established were poorly executed and severely underperformed, and leaving thousands of interpreters stuck in bureaucratic limbo. There are several factors of the situation that have led to this debacle, including the application process, the programs involved, and the adjustments that have been made. First, a little background on what has made these men targets and why they need these visas. These guys go out into combat with our troops and risk their lives. They identify hazards like IEDs, and they communicate with locals to translate warnings. Kashifi, an Afghan interpreter, when asked about the threats he had been receiving from the Taliban, was quoted as saying, "When they come to you, they don't ask questions, they'll just chop your head off." These interpreters work for both the U.S. forces, such as the Army and Marines, as well as military contractors as well. The application process for these visas would best be described as a complete bureaucratic clusterfuck. I was going to print out the entire application process and bring it in, but it was over 100 pages long, and I didn't want to waste that much paper. The first form is the DS-157 form, which is where you put your basic information. You need a letter from a human resources director and a recommendation letter from a supervisor. But there are many cases where these guys can't find their supervisors because they either were deployed somewhere else, went home, or possibly even killed, so they need to get a DS-158 supervisor locator form. But if you were someone who was employed by a military contractor, chances are they're not going to come back and help you, so you're pretty much screwed. They also need to have a proof of nationality form and an employee badge. And once you you fill that stuff out and you send it in, you wait for months to even years. And if they accept it, the next part is the petition stage. Here you have to fill out your I-360 form and bring that with you for your interview at the American Embassy, but they are no longer scheduling these interviews due to a horrible backlog in the system. So then you have to go to the DS-260 form, which is 75 pages long of repeated and irrelevant questions. But if somehow you get all that sent in and accepted, you still have to pay out of pocket for your own travel costs, vaccine, and other fees. But at least at that point you get to come to America. Now there were two major programs to issue these visas, the first being the Refugee Crisis in Iraq Act of 2008, which was designed to give out a total of 20,000 visas. But according to the International Refugee Assistance Project, it had a hard time getting off the ground and very few were actually given out. The other was the Afghan Allies Protection Act of 2009, designed to give out 7,500 visas a year for 5 years. But by 2012, it had only given out a total of 268. And in 2011 alone, out of the 7,500 they were able to give out, they issued a total of 3. Matt Zeller, an Afghan war vet who's been a supporter of these interpreters and trying to get them to the States, when asked about the process, was quoted as saying, "It's next to impossible and it's like winning the lottery." But these weren't designed to be like lotteries. They were designed to be a quick and easy process for these guys to get stateside. Thankfully, some adjustments have been made. To the Iraq program, there were several reforms put in place in 2010 that did lead to increases from 392 SIVs issued in 2011 to 6,000 issued in 2013. But the entire Iraq program expired in September of 2014 and it's gone. The Afghan program expired at the end of 2014, but according to the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Consular Affairs, they did renew it earlier this year and they're going to give out 4,000 more visas. And the program will end in 2017 or when they've issued all of the visas. And also this past August, 8,000 of these refugees were brought to Spokane, Washington to be a safe center. These interpreters have risked their lives to help keep our troops safe, at great personal risk to themselves and their families. They have more than earned the right to live their lives as they wish and to be free of worry that the Taliban is going to kick their door in and cut their head off. We, as a country, agreed with this point and we created programs to help get them here. We have fallen far short in our execution of these programs, leading to these people being trapped behind bureaucratic red tape, which is fucking bullshit.